Hi everybody, I'm here to let you know how to use Zoom in a producer or host role. So the first thing you want to do is you want to set up your screen just like this. So you have participants on the side, you have chat over here, and you can see everyone in either speaker view or gallery view. Now as a host, you have some controls. So as you can see, all of the controls are down the bottom here. And they're also in things that you can do with other participants. So I have the control to mute and unmute different participants. You can tell if they're muted is if they have a red cross through the microphone. And if they're not muted, they'll be like my microphone, which can show the sound waves up and down. So to unmute someone, I click them. And then to mute someone, I can click them mute again. That's for individual people. To do it as a whole, what you can do is you can mute all. So you can press this button and you want this to be ticked so people can unmute themselves if they need to. Click. And if I want to unmute all, I can press this button and all mute participants will be unmuted. Notice how Theodore is still muted, and this is because he put the mute on himself. And so this would have sent a request to him to ask if he wanted to unmute himself. And if he can choose, and he can choose to unmute himself if he wants to, otherwise he can press later. Next thing to note is spotlighting. This is how we put someone in the big picture over here for all people's screens. So all you need to do is press more, press spotlight video, and that will show this person's video as the big screen for everybody. Now, there's one host and up to 15 co-hosts that you can have. And so as you can see, I'm the host and I have made these people co-hosts. I can withdraw this co-host permission and make them co-hosts again. This puts them at the top of my participants list, and all the other participants who aren't co-hosts or hosts will be listed in alphabetical order down the bottom. This is particularly good to do when there are about 80 people on the service and you just need to quickly be able to spotlight different people. So I make all the people who are serving in the service as co-hosts. Now that co-hosts can do the same thing that hosts can do, but hosts have a little extra feature. They can be in control of making someone host or co-host, and they can also do a feature called breakout rooms, which I will explain a bit later on. If you want to leave the meeting at the end of the service and you're a host, this will give you an option of end meeting for everyone or leave meeting, and that will assign the host role to someone else. So you can either choose someone to give the host role to, or if you press this button, it will automatically assign it to someone else. Something else we need to do is record our services. So I'm already recording right now. So you can see I can pause or stop the recording, but there'll be an option to record on this computer. And so a way to check where it's being saved to is that you go to recording, and this is the file that it will be saved at. I like to record video during screen sharing, so it will show the person who's speaking along video along with what screen is being shared. So it won't show just the screen sharing. The next thing I need to teach you is about screen sharing. So this is when you're sharing screen from your desktop or your computer onto everybody else's screens. So this is the screen button here, and that's how you can screen share. I like to make it so that only hosts can share the screen. This is set to stop any unwanted participants sharing what they have. So press the share screen button, and I have many options. It's all the desktops I have open. So what you want to do is, if you're using Proclaim or if you're using PowerPoint, you want to make them full screen. So with Proclaim, you want to make that on air as a window before you start the service. And for PowerPoint, you want to show it as a slideshow. You don't want to show this one, the background one, because everyone will see all the background work for Proclaim. So you just want the full screen. You also want to select these two options. This is so that if you have any videos, people will be able to hear what those videos are playing, and loud and clear. And then once you're on it, all you need to do is click through. Now with Bible readings, there is a bit of a delay, so you want to change the slide a bit earlier than what they're reading, so that when they start reading next, there won't be a long pause, but they'll have this next slide ready for them right away. And then to stop screen share, I just press stop share at the top and it will take me back to the meeting room. Another thing that you can do is share your audio only. So by doing that, you go to screen share and you press advanced, and then you can press music or computer sound only. And this is how you can share some Spotify background music or anything. Now, something important to note is that the volumes of videos are different for each video or each song, and they might be a bit louder or softer for the other people hearing. So it's good to do a sound check just beforehand so you know what volume to play it at when you need to play the videos. Something important to do is continue to look at the chat to see if something isn't working. People will most likely message and say, I can't hear anything, or something's not showing. So then you know that there's a problem there. Another solution is to have an iPad or another device next to you so that you can see the screen that you're sharing on that, so you can actually see for yourself if things are working out properly. If the waiting room feature is turned on, just like this, then co-hosts and hosts can see what is waiting in the waiting room. And all you need to do is press admit and they will be joining you in the room. Another feature that only hosts can do is breakout rooms. So if someone is in charge of breakout rooms, they need to be given the host role, not the co-host, but the host role. So a way to transfer hosts is by clicking more, make host, and say Theodore is in charge of breakout rooms, now he can do it. But I don't have a co-host or host role anymore. So Theodore needs to make me a co-host on his computer so that I can still do spotlighting and I can still unmute and mute all people. But I can also reclaim hosts. So once he's done, I can take the host role back, and now you notice I'm host again. Now as a host, I can do a breakout room feature. So it's when I press breakout rooms. So I have an automatic and a manual option. It's automatic randomly generates them into rooms. And I can choose how many rooms and how many participants I want per room. If I'm aiming for 5 participants per room, I usually try to make it 7 because sometimes people drop off at the end of the service. And so rooms end up with 3 people. So if we want 5, try to aim for a bit more when you're allocating people in. So manual is how you can assign people. So you do all the work. Automatic is you randomly generate. So I can move people to different rooms. I can move people back. I can exchange them for someone else. So I find it helpful to just look through and make sure there's one person, and at least one person in each room who can help to facilitate discussion and who can help to lead the discussion along. I can add a room, and this is how I can add people who joined after I started the breakout room sorting. So this will assign people who were in it when I started it. This will give me the options of people who haven't been assigned yet. So I make a room and then I assign people in there and then assign them into other rooms from then, because you can't assign them straight into these rooms. You need to do it this way. If there is a waiting room feature, the host needs to be in the main meeting session to admit people in. And then from then they can assign them into a breakout room. So a host doesn't get assigned to a breakout room. You can join them, you can jump from room to room, but I find it just helpful to sit in here and be ready to put people whose internet dropped off and they were kicked out back into their original breakout rooms, or assign those people who came a bit late to a breakout room. It's helpful to unmute people before they go into the breakout room so that they don't need to press any buttons and they can just talk right as soon as they get into the breakout room. Now there are different options for breakout rooms. So the options are, you can move people into the rooms automatically. I like doing that so that they just get shuttled in right away and don't have to press any buttons. I like clicking this button on so that they can return to the session at any time. And they don't have to stay in the room if they don't want to. If this is off, then they have to either leave this main session or they have to stay in the breakout room. If this is on, they can leave the breakout room to go back to the main session. They can leave the main session altogether, or they can stay in the breakout room. This sets a timer so you can do it for 20 minutes, and the chairperson will let you know what time they want, and the countdown will appear on everyone's screens. And this will notify you when it hits 0, so then you can press close rooms and have a countdown until they automatically get put back. Open all rooms. And you can see that Swan has joined and Theodore has been unassigned. This will give me a list of all the unassigned people. So I can assign him to any room I want and it will take him there. I can broadcast a message. And this will appear at the top of their screens for about 10 seconds. So it disappears. So if you want to send a question for the night or questions that they need to discuss, it's helpful to do that in the chat to everyone before they leave. 3, 2, 1, and then an option will appear for me whether I want to keep breakout rooms open or close now. If I press close now, then all the participants will be given 60 seconds to return back into this meeting room. They can press it and go back, or they will be shuttled automatically at the end of the 60 seconds. Now, just some general service tips. This is how I usually go through a normal service as a host or producer. So I have my run sheet next to me, and this will tell me where, who I need to spotlight, when I need to spotlight, when I need to screen share, or when I need to mute everybody, or when I need to assign breakout rooms. It's good to do breakout rooms early, by the way, because it actually takes a long time when there's like 80 people and you want to sort of check through them. I would have all my proper screens open, full screens, just before the service starts. As people who are serving come in, I make them co-host, so they all appear at the top of my list. Remember to start recording at the beginning of the service or just before the Bible reading starts. That will get saved in the place on the computer, which you can find out through your settings. And then during the service, I'm responsible for spotlighting people. If there's any echoing sounds, it's a signal that maybe someone has accidentally unmuted themselves. So then you look through the list of participants and then you can manually mute them or unmute them. And if someone is on a roll and say they're praying and they're trying to talk and no one's able to hear them because they don't realize they didn't unmute themselves, you just need to be alert to be ready to unmute them so that they can start talking. Throughout the service, you also need to share your screen. It's good to check that all of these options are on, and remember to share the full screen of them, and then you click through them. Remember to stay on those screens, because when you move away from them, when you bring another window up, it freezes the screen. So video will be frozen or slides won't be moving through. So stay on the screen. Organize breakout rooms early, like I said. Make sure all the options are in place. Continue to check that people are assigned into breakout rooms and then open rooms when it's time. And then at the end of the service, it's helpful to just unmute everybody so that they can continue chatting. There's some security features that have just been added from Zoom. So this allows participants, so I don't like this on because I don't want participants sharing their screens. I don't like them annotating as well, because sometimes the kids like to add a little hearts on sermon notes, so we don't want that. So I think that that's the main thing. I hope that was helpful for everybody, and good luck with your producer.